Well, I'd like to thank the Doordarshan and the All India Radio for giving me this platform to share a few thoughts and also to give an overview of the election process, of the election preparations in connection with the ensuing Meghalaya elections 2023. So, after the filing of the nominations, we have a total of 375 total candidates who have filed their nominations. Out of this, 339 are males and 36 are females. A slight increase is there from 2018, where the total nominations filed was 370. In 2018, the total nominations filed for male was 338 and for female it was 32. So there's an increase slightly in the number of females who have filed their nominations. Also, as you all know, Meghalaya has 60 assembly constituencies and 3,482 polling stations. We have 36 constituencies in the Khasi Jaintia region, and we have 24 constituencies in the Garo Hills region. This time around, the elections will be held on the 27th of February, and the timings are from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And this time it's slightly different from the previous elections because we have a home voting facility for the senior citizens above 80 and also for the people with disability. From last week onward, we've had our teams going to various far-flung areas of the state. North Garo Hills has already started, and also East Khasi Hills have already sent their various election teams to facilitate this casting of the postal ballot by the senior citizens and by the people with the disability. So far, the people who have opted for Form 18, for Form 12D rather, for Form 12D are in respect of the people with disabilities, it's 6,337, and for senior citizens, it's 9,997. So we have quite a huge response from these two categories for voting from home, and all efforts are being taken to ensure that, as per the Election Commission objective, that no voter should be left behind, that all categories that our teams will facilitate, all the categories who would normally not have had the energy nor the time to come to the polling station, nor the inclination to come to the polling station, that they would be able to get an opportunity to exercise their franchise. We've seen reports coming from the field. There has been a very enthusiastic response from the people with disability as well as from senior citizens especially, who have cast their vote from their homes. Coming to the security scenario, we have already received about 40 companies from the MHA and the Election Commission, and the CAPF are stationed in various locations across all the 60 constituencies and the 12 districts of our state, including one subdivision. And we expect a further 79 CAPF forces which will be deployed and which will come to the state after the Tripura election. We will be receiving 79 more companies to ensure that the polling is conducted in a free and fair manner, and to instill confidence and also in the hearts of the voters that there should be no fear, there should be free and fair voting. So these forces will be coming by the end of this week perhaps, or the beginning of next week. We have about 399 critical polling stations and about 700 plus vulnerable locations. But of course, this is a dynamic scenario. It's a dynamic assessment because as the polls are drawing to closer to the date of the polls, the situation might change or it might evolve. So, but however, the election machinery and the police are keeping a close watch and a close vigil on the evolving security scenario. We are aiming this time to ensure that at least we touch 90% and above in terms of voting turnout. Last in the last elections in 2018, our total voting percentage was 86.90%, 86.9%, almost 87%. This time we hope that the citizens of the state come out in much larger numbers and that we are able to touch 90% or beyond. In most of the other districts, polling has been very healthy and very robust, and the voter turnout also has been very promising. However, in a few urban constituencies, mainly around Shillong and parts of Tura and Juai, voting percentage had dipped. However, we feel that this time around, with the concentration and with the focus on voter education and also taking into confidence the various headmen and the Senkanthai and the Sengsamlas through our program which we call Mission 300. Why we call this program Mission 300 is mainly because we have taken 5 polling stations in each and every constituency which are below the state average. So that is 5 into 60, that is 300 polling stations. So that's why we're calling it Mission 300. So all the district election machineries are taking focus efforts to call out and to urge these various localities to come out in large numbers. In fact, the theme for this year's elections is I vote for sure. There's nothing like voting. On Valentine's Day, we had launched a campaign of Mission 300 called My Vote, My Valentine. Love your state, love your voice, and love your vote. So we have interacted in a very detailed manner with the headmen, with the Rangbashnongs, with the Senkanthais, and with the Sengsamlas, and we hope that this will positively impact on the voting percentage. Of course, urban apathy is a problem which is there across India, not only in Meghalaya, but we hope that the citizens come out in large numbers and we are able to touch 90%. In terms of our electorate, as you know, the total electorate that has been registered in our electoral rolls is 21,75,236, out of which females account for 10.92 lakhs and males account for about 10.68 lakhs plus. So we can see that in terms of the voter turnout, in terms of the voter enrollment as well, females outnumber the male counterparts. And we hope this time also that the males can match the voter turnout of the females. Historically, Meghalaya has always registered higher turnout amongst females, but this time we hope that the males also walk shoulder to shoulder with the female counterparts and come out in equally large numbers along with the female counterparts. We have about 7,000 plus people with disability registered in the electoral roll, and special arrangements will be made for the people with disability, along with the various provisions under AMF, which is the assured minimum facilities, wherein various facilities like wheelchairs, then braille paper ballot, then many other assistive devices. There will also be poll volunteers, wherein we have drawn in the youth from youth organizations like NSS, Bharat Scouts and Guides, NYK, and the Megbun, and we have trained the master volunteers, and we will be deploying them on the election day, so that they are able to facilitate priority voting for the people with disability and for the senior citizens as well as mothers with the children. So this we hope will also give teeth and also will make this whole objective of making elections inclusive and participative more real at the field level. So in 2019, we had deployed poll volunteers for the first time, and the participation of poll volunteers and the involvement was a big success. We hope this time also the participation of the poll volunteers under the name Election Friend, or as Election Commission calls them, Matdata Mitra, under the hashtag GoAssist, they will be able to help and assist all these various categories to ensure that no voter is left behind. Along with this, we also have about 240 special polling stations, which are mainly 120 all-women managed polling station. Then we have various categories of model polling stations, and for the first time this time we have youth polling stations, youth managed polling stations. So we hope to deploy these poll volunteers in these special polling stations as well. Now coming to the terrain that we have here in Meghalaya, you know that Meghalaya, the terrain is quite tough. It's quite difficult in some areas with very mountainous terrain, and our polling parties have to undertake long, arduous treks and journeys across the state to ensure that that the people get an opportunity to cast their vote. So we have about 74 non-motorable polling stations here in the entire state, and 2 of these polling stations are in fact riverine polling stations. We have one polling station in Kamsing, which has only 35 voters. It's a small island. It's almost like a small island. You have to go by boat to reach this polling station. And we have another polling station called Kalatek here, which is in Shela. Here also the polling parties have to travel by boat. And there are some polling stations in South Garo Hills and some in Southwest Khasi Hills where the polling parties have to also undergo foot march. So these are some of the tough and the difficult polling stations that are there. Apart from this, in parts of East Garo Hills and parts of other difficult areas, there are makeshift bamboo bridges where the people have to cross, where the polling parties have to cross on makeshift bamboo bridges. But however, I would like to salute the dedicated efforts of the polling parties who leave no stone unturned to ensure that they carry the EVMs and the polling kit and they reach the various difficult polling stations to ensure that the voters get an opportunity to cast their votes. We also know that in Meghalaya, in terms of the connectivity, it is fairly poor in some areas. But however, we are taking measures along with the police department to arrange for VHF sets and also to have repeater stations. So police department is also deploying a number of repeater stations and additional repeater stations along with VHF sets to ensure that these shadow areas, they are covered. So this time around, for the first time in our state, we will be covering almost 50% of our polling stations through the webcast. In the previous elections, it used to be only 10%, but this time we are making an attempt to cover almost 50% of the polling stations by webcast. So about 1700 plus polling stations will be covered by webcast, and they can be directly viewed from the level of the DO and even at the CO's office and even at the Election Commission. We will be able to get live stream from the polling stations directly. We are also, as you know, we have a number of polling stations which are bordering Assam, and also a few polling parties which travel via the state of Assam. So we have about 109 such polling parties which travel via Assam, and about 177 polling stations which are close to the borders. So our DCs and our SPs have already had very close meetings as well as coordination consultations with the neighboring district DCs as well as SPs, and they have assured all cooperation in the to and fro travel of these polling parties. And at the level of the state government also, at the level of the Chief Secretary and the DGP also, they've had a number of meetings to ensure close coordination and also smooth movement of logistics as well as polling parties by the state of Assam and also in polling stations bordering Assam. So we have here in our state about 20 general observers, 21 expenditure observers, and 12 in fact are these police observers. So these have been deployed by the Election Commission, and 3 general observers, 3 special observers have also been deployed at the state level. One is a special general observer, one is a special police observer, and the third is a special expenditure observer. And we have about 480 flying squad teams, about 420 static surveillance teams, and 112 video surveillance teams. So these teams are active on the field to ensure that there is no violation of the Model Code of Conduct. And I'm also happy to share with you, as of 7th of February, so far the total seizures that have been made by our teams amounts to about 51.27 crores. And as on 13th, that is on day before yesterday, the total seizures that have been seized by our teams amounts to about 63.30 crores, which as against the first figure, almost 6 crores is in cash, and about 23 crores or so is for drugs and narcotics. I'm happy to note that during this MCC period, the war on drugs has actually intensified, and there has been quite a huge seizure in terms of drugs as well as narcotics. So this can be attributed to the stringent measures which have been taken during this MCC period, that a lot of drug seizures have taken place. We also have an application called C-Vigil, and C-Vigil is an app in which the citizens can themselves film, or they can take a recording, or they can document on their mobile phones, and this complaint can go in real time to the authorities at the district level, and then then it becomes incumbent on the authorities at the district level to also take necessary action. So I urge all citizens to kindly be more proactive on the C-Vigil. So far we've got only about 29 complaints. So this is a feature that is available for all the citizens to report on any model code of conduct violations, and our teams are there to respond promptly to each and every model code of conduct violations. So in terms of the number of model code of conduct violations, I'll just highlight some of the major incidents that took place. One is the Phulbari incident, which took place in West Garo Hills. There was a clash between between the supporters of two political parties, out of which 31 have been arrested and 125 have been bound, and now the situation is under control. Then regarding alleged distribution of freebies in East Khasi Hills, show cause notices have been issued to all the three candidates of a particular constituency in East Khasi Hills, and also a few other model code of conduct violations for which notices have been issued, some of which are against some of the prominent people. So these are some of the cases which have been taken up. Regarding the removal of defacement of property, of public property, we have 414 cases, and against private property we have about 3,174 cases. So in brief, these are the various highlights of the electoral preparedness in our state. And come 27th of February, I would like to appeal, and I would like to request all the citizens of our state to come out in large numbers to exercise their franchise and to take the pledge of I vote for sure, and also to come to the polling stations to choose your respective candidates. That this is an opportunity that comes only once in 5 years. So kindly come, choose, cast and celebrate your right to the franchise, because as a citizen it's a golden opportunity for you to cast your vote, and also it's one of the few rights that has been given to a citizen. Thank you very much.